What is going on, YouTube people? Northeast Ohio Cards and Comics here for a little live stream. First off, can you guys hear me okay? Can you boys and girls hear me loud and clear? I was having some microphone issues, so I just want to make sure that everything sounds good because I am desperate to get my desktop back home. This laptop thing works in a pinch, but man, is it a pain in my butt. My desktop is on its way back via FedEx. Should have it by Friday. Perfect. Thank you, everyone in chat. So, typical thing, no real set topic. I do not have a. I figured I'd pop on and do this tonight. I'm going to pin Dave's question here real quick so I don't lose track of this. I figured I'd pop on tonight. I do not have a video recorded for tomorrow. So I figured I'd do this. So for the people that could catch it live, catch it live. Anyone that misses it can catch the VOD tomorrow. I personally, and I have no inside knowledge of this, I'm just anticipating we get PSA news tomorrow about regular service coming back and pricing and how it's all going to work. So I'm going to roll the dice, not record a video for tomorrow with the anticipation that that news comes out. And I will record at least a video on that, if not multiple videos, depending on whatever the news is. So roll the dice on that one. If no PSA news comes out tomorrow, maybe I'll record something tomorrow and put it up tomorrow afternoon or evening. A little different timing on that, but once again, I'm anticipating PSA news tomorrow. I'm on the road for work tomorrow, and I am taking my laptop. Whoops, so I break stuff, and my snowball with me in the car tomorrow. So if something happens, I can record from the road. I specifically bought this. My normal mic is Blue Yeti X. If anyone ever, I get questions every once in a while what I use to record on. It's a Blue Yeti X. It's on an arm right above my head right here. I pull it down, but the arm gets a little wonky sometimes. If anyone's looking for recording equipment, they've been on sale on and off leading up to Christmas. Can't recommend them enough. And then I picked up this snowball after the National, I think. Or did I have? Yeah, I picked this up after the National. I used the laptop mic to record at the National. I didn't like the sound quality, so I grabbed one of these as a little portable option. This is a Snowball Mini. These are relatively affordable. These do a really nice job. This could probably be a main microphone if I wanted it to. But I like having it mounted on an arm up out of the way and off the desk. But I have that for a little portable one. So we'll see. If we don't get PSA news, then we'll figure it out and I'll get something else up for tomorrow. But that's the general plan. You can always release 2 videos in one day. Yeah, I generally don't like doing that. I almost feel sometimes daily that I'm hitting you guys with too much content. So my hair is a mess today. It has been a very long day. I've been off the last 2 days because I went deer. Yesterday was the opening day of deer season in Ohio. So I went hunting yesterday, and today I spent cutting up deer and making trail bologna. So that was the day. All right, let's dive into questions in chat. Good evening, everybody. I missed a bunch of hellos and good evenings and all that jazz during my very long intros show. Let's go ahead and dive in. I'm going to start with Dave. He had a question fired in before the stream even started. We got my friend, for those that haven't seen a live stream for a hot minute, got my friend the Sentinel back there. Recent pickup, a HasLab Sentinel. I got to hang out with me during live streams. I don't have any company. That's my little buddy. And then we got the old Hulk 181 hanging out back there, and Slave One's still back there, and the Dragon's still back there in the corner. I am so desperate for a new office setup to have a wall display behind me. It's not even funny. Dave asks, so for not released basketball yet, what am I ripping for Xmas? I would like to rip something for Christmas. Last year, I ripped NBA Hoops Premium as a Christmas present to myself and pulled a Ja Auto Redemption. This year around, I don't know what I'm doing yet. I am on the prowl for something. There's a decent chance it'll probably be Marvel product. I was hoping Spider-Man Metal would be out in time, but I don't think that's going to happen. So it's probably going to be either a classic Marvel product or maybe more than one. I would really like to rip a box of 95 Marvel Metal, but it's expensive. If anyone has a line on Marvel Metal sealed boxes, please slide into my DMs. That's not eBay. And I'm willing to pay like, close to eBay comps or whatever. I get it. Like I'm not trying to get it super below market price, but if I could avoid shipping and taxes and get a little bit of a 5% price break or whatever, I'd be interested. I'd also wouldn't mind ripping a box of Marvel Series 3. I have a set of it already, but I don't. Um, I haven't ripped it, I have not ripped the box yet. So I wouldn't mind ripping a box of that. That's pretty cheap. You can get those for about 100, $125. Actually got outbid on one the other day. Sports card wise, I thought about Contenders Optic, and then I saw that LaMelo Ball, he has like half the autos of every other player in the set. So, and that's a hit based product. So I don't know. At this point, it's probably not going to be something sports card related. I just don't see a good fit on the horizon. Even if 2021 product was out, I would rip a box of NBA hoops just for the hell of it. But I don't know. So yeah, what is up, everybody? Sports card, whatever. Bazooka Tom, Edwin, Global Sports Card, Loki, 3D8, Simon, Edwin. Who else did I miss? Cards and Comics. Cards and Comics says $100 a card. That's my guess. $100 a card with a cap, maybe $75 card with a stricter cap. Just depends. Could always release 2 videos in a day. Yeah. Yeah, I think it's 100 to start, and then maybe they drop it. Would you ever get into sealed mint on card retro figures like He-Man, Transformers, Marvel Secret Wars, etc.? I'm not against it, but I would probably be pretty specific on what I would want. I do have some sealed action figures, but nothing vintage. I have a decent collection of Star Wars Black Series stuff, but I don't collect every single figure. I just buy the figures that I like, typically mostly Boba Fett centric stuff. A lot of stuff from The Mandalorian. What else do I have? Like a Cad Bane, that sort of stuff, like the cooler guys. I have some of that stuff in sealed action figure wise. I think that's all I have in sealed stuff is some Star Wars Black stuff. I probably like a dozen Star Wars Black series. I don't have anything old school, and I don't know what I would want. I might be interested in like the 90s Toy Biz X-Men sealed, but I don't know. Maybe. I thought about getting into Marvel Legends, and that's a rabbit hole I don't want to go down. There's just too many of them. Any chance you could do a futures charts and graphs of refractors from the 90s? I could look into it. I don't know a lot of like the 90s stuff, but I'll see what I could do. With prices down the way they are many cards that will not make sense to grade even at $100. Yeah, there's still going to be plenty of cards that don't make sense to grade at 100, but there are plenty of cards that do make sense at 100. A lot of silver prisms, a lot of silver stuff, silver prisms, optic hollows of upper tier rookies. You're still going to want to send that stuff to PSA. Anything in a prime color of a prime player, with upcoming product coming, you're gonna want to send that to PSA. On the road with huge news from PSA. I hope it sounds okay. I've never recorded in the car before. I'm not sure. I've heard some estimates of people sitting on quite a few cards waiting to send in at $100 a card. So we'll see. Short-term and long-term hobby goals moving forward. I've been looking at more of a long-term mindset recently. On the sports card side of things, I would still like to continue getting LeBron refractors, which 1 second reminds me, I need to check. I need to check eBay real quick. Hold on, please hold. Okay, it's got plenty of time before it ends. It's probably going to go for more than what I want it to go for. Okay. I would still like to keep getting some LeBron refractors, tops chrome. I would like to really complete the set of tops chrome refractors outside of his rookie year because that's just not in my budget anytime soon. I would still, at some point in time, I would like to get my hands on a low grade Jim Brown auto. I really screwed something up with that a few weeks ago that I could have got my hands on one and I messed it up. Comic book wise, which is honestly, I mean, I talked about it on Dakota's live stream the night before Thanksgiving. My focus is really on comic books right now, especially more for the long term hold variety because I just like them better as long term holds. Uh, I'm looking at same thing that I'm always looking at, like huge X-Men keys, are all on the list. So that's kind of where I'm at right now. So, any shows before you before the end of the year? Travel shows, I'm not sure. I am still up in the air for Philly this weekend, but it is looking more negative than positive. Originally, my wife and I were both going to go, and I don't think my wife's going to be home in time. She's traveling for work this week, and I don't know that she's going to make it home in time. So I'm going to be going solo, which I'm fine with. Steve offered me up, some space, and I can afford to get a hotel room on my own as well. Um, so it just kind of depends on how the rest of this week plays out. If I go to Philly, it's going to be an extremely last minute thing. Also, both my local shows are this weekend, so I would be missing out on both those if I go to Philly. And then, then there's only like 1 or 2 more weeks before Christmas comes, so there's probably not much else. I'm also slightly debating on, I forget the proper name of it, which is not this year; it's the beginning of next year. I think it's like the Gem Mint show or something. Mint, the one in Vegas. I've been bouncing that around. A lot of people I know are going to that show. I know Sam and Hannah are going to that show. It sounds like Dustin and Brad are going to that show. Steve is thinking about going to that show. Um, so I might look at that too. Philly would be the next closest thing that I would probably go to that I would be traveling for. I heard you have to pay $2,000 to hunt deer. No, I have private property that I hunt on. All I got to do is buy a hunt license. What do I think the Browns will do with Baker? They still have him on the roster next year. So my guess is he's not going to get an extension this offseason. So they'll just have him play out next year and see how he looks. They desperately need offensive weapons. Their wide receiver and offensive pass catchers suck. They have no dynamic playmakers. Jarvis Landry is amazing, but he's a possession wide receiver. They don't have anyone to stretch the field. They don't have anyone that threatens the defense. And defenses are just stacking the box against them. And they're still running okay. Plus, Baker's hurt. I'm basically giving him an incomplete for most of this entire season. Yeah, the first month of the year, he looked good. Like he put up huge numbers against the Chiefs, against the Chargers. Um, and then he's been banged up ever since. Lost Beckham. Landry got hurt. Hunt got hurt. Now Austin Hooper's hurt. The other guys are very unproven. DPJ is playing with a busted up groin. Schwartz is in concussion protocol. So need my video per day. As long as I can think of things to come up with topics with. That's the tricky part sometimes. So when are you going to transition from buying baseball to football? That's a real wait and see with the baseball lockout stuff coming. So we'll see. Any regrets with the Baker purchases, or do you still believe him in long term? Um, Regrets? No, not necessarily. I moved off because when I bought the bigger Baker stuff, I moved off a lot of my lower end Baker stuff. That's usually what I try to do. If I get something higher end, regardless of player. So if I get like when I got my Luca Opticalos, I sold a lot of my Luca base and took profits on that stuff. I did the same thing with Baker. I got the Opticalo, I got the Flawless RPA, I got the 2 National Treasures booklets, some other stuff, and then I sold off like Optic base, Prism base, and took pretty good profits on that stuff. Not enough to make up for probably the losses I would take if I tried to sell the Baker Flawless right now. And I would potentially actually move the Baker Flawless if the deal was right, just to free money back up again. Part of that is just because I bought the Hulk 181, and now I just want to build a fun money backup pile by cheating. Essentially, I want to fast track it rather than just waiting for it to passively come in. Um, but I don't really have any regrets per se because a lot of the stuff, like I said, I took profits on the lower end stuff. The one extra Baker booklet I had, I traded away. Uh, so cards and comics, I would love to rip a box of 2017 Fleer Ultra Spider-Man. Find me a box of 2017 Fleer Ultra Spider-Man. Especially for one that's not an arm and a leg. Last I checked, I don't think there's any on eBay, and they usually go for about $800 or $900. So if you could find me a line on one, I would be interested in ripping. Same with 2018 Fleer Ultra X-Men. I'd actually probably prefer to rip that, but also there's one on eBay and it's like $1,000. So if you know anyone that has some, or if you have some laying around that you're looking to move, slide into the old DMs. If there were no big three, PSA, BGS, SGC, you only had a choice between CSG, HGA, and the other warehouse base. I mean, this is a CSG, and it's not even close. HGA is an absolute dumpster fire right now, and the other ones I don't view as real grading companies at all. No offense to them. Like TGT is doing some cool stuff. I just have a hard time um, buying into any of the pop-up ones, and I almost throw HGA in the pop-up one. Like that's not even that's a no-brainer choice. It's CSG and it's not even close. If you want to move a box of Series 3, Jacob, DM me. Let me know. What's up, Phoenix? Do you think they'll do a Dutch auction? I don't know. At what point, if at all, does SGC, et cetera, drop their grading prices? When demand shrinks. I think we'll see. They'll probably play a wait and see game on how submissions go after PSA drops their price. And they have a little bit of a backlog right now, not much. They're still turning stuff around in like 20 or 25 days, SGC. So, but I think if it slides back down again, I think we could see a price drop for them. The problem is like when you're already at $30, how much does a $15 price drop? Like if a $15 price drop is making or breaking you profit wise on sending a card to them, I don't know if it makes sense to send that card in the first place. Maybe I'm just wrong on that, but that's how I think about it. So, yeah, I know. I don't know any golf courses around here that do that, but I've heard of that. So, yeah, there's some deals to be had out there. There are some deals to be had out there. Green Prism is nice. Look at Blue Velocity. I'd still like to have one of those at one point in time. This is the time. I can't stop buying in comic books. Yeah, 90s inserts just are not my forte. What do you think is a tempting floor to buy in the Zion? I mean, there's a decent chance you're at floor pricing now if he comes back and looks okay. I don't know when he comes back yet. I'd still be concerned. So Sam from Women of the Hobby. What is up, Sam? I'm thinking about going to Vegas, Sam. I don't know yet. People are trying to talk me into it. I of 90s inserts, if I could own one 90s insert, it would be a Michael Jordan scoring Kings with the lightning in the background. I have fond memories of that card from when I was a kid. When does 2021 NBA product release? 357, see my video from today. Probably not till next year. Into ghosts and collectors. You're not wrong. Jonathan Taylor cards the wear, CSG or PSA. I haven't been following the baseball offseason super close. I mean, besides like the obvious signings, I don't know where Cray is going to end up going. I just know he's going to get a ton of money. What lessons have you learned from the content that was overly bullish the last 6 months? I don't know if I quite understand. I think I know where you're going with that, Joe, but can you just clarify that question a little bit for me? Yeah, that's one that I would the 2009 LeBron refractor. It's because it's numbered out of 500 is a big reason why. The second reason why it's a really good photo. It's a breakaway dunk from the Pistons playoff game, I think, from the year before. But the reason that card gets such a premium is because it's numbered out of 500. A lot of the refractors aren't. Like the Chalk Toss refractor is not numbered. And some of his other ones, second year refractor is not numbered. Some of them are, some of them aren't. It gets weird as you go on throughout the years. Yeah, the Mint Collective. I knew there was something Mint in the title. I just couldn't remember what. I'm considering it. I know you and Hannah are going, and I know Dustin and Brad are prop. It sounds like they're going. Dustin's trying to talk me and Steve into going. So we'll see. If you want to pop on and try to convince me, you have an open invite, Sam. You can come on whenever you want. If you want to DM me or whatever, if you want to pop on the live stream or whatever. Filmington's going to the Mint Collective too. What? Oh man. Same thing, Filmington. You want to pop on and chat for a little bit? Just let me know. I haven't talked to you for a while. Filmington, where's Carlos Correa going? I am so far behind on chat. Oh my god. Nope, not yet. No PSA news yet. Javi Bias to the Tigers. What? Um, I would need to sit down and think about this, Jeff. This will probably be like an end of the year video. I got some stuff that I'm brainstorming for as the year end winds down. Um, that would be a good. That would actually just be a good standalone video. I'm gonna note that for just a straight video topic. Um, definitely some shows I regret attending. I am not big on non quarterbacks. Excuse me, in the football market. A lot of it's because it's unlicensed baseball or baseball that people don't care about. There's not good baseball product out right now. Plus, this year's rookie class, and if Filmington's still hiding in chat somewhere, can correct me if I'm wrong. This year's rookie class just was not super great, I think, for like flagship. I could be wrong on that, but yeah, I just there's just not great product out right now. So I would expect stuff to sit on shelves. I did not see the Mac Jones gold on golden. Yeah, I'm thinking tomorrow. So for those that are joining late, there is no planned video for tomorrow because I'm assuming we're getting PSA news tomorrow. So whenever that breaks and I have a minute, I'll fire that video up. I agree. It's Cards and Comics. The Don Russ, Mac Jones are just a clown show. There are already a lot of good deals on Baker right now. Aaron Rodgers toe relics. Ooh wee. That's not surprising with the PMGs in there. 2017 Spider-Man Ultra is gonna get expensive. Hey, little gems, what's up? See him at my local shows all the time. How'd Canton go for you on Saturday? I don't. Um, those seem like good prices. I am not super familiar with the Kobe market. Like, I don't know his prices like I do the LeBron stuff to directly comment on if something's good or bad. I would need to look into it a little bit. In general, most of the basketball goats are trending downwards. So if there's someone that you've been hunting, this is probably a decent time to jump into it, especially if you have. I'd feel better about it if you have a more long term time horizon. I wouldn't do anything with CSG in regards to sending them cards until we see what they do with the label redesign. A lot of people love HGA or hate HGA. It's very hit or miss. Give me 1 second here, folks. Un momento. Okay. I haven't dug into details on the Vegas show in regards to costs and whatnot. Michael Ham, what is going on? CSG is working on it. I mean, I did a video on it a couple weeks ago. I 100% agree that CSG is working on it. I hate when people do this stuff, whether it's a card or a comic book, when stuff sells too low and they refuse to ship. The Suns look amazing. I will not. I can tell you right now, this stream will end before that Suns Warriors game comes on because I'm going to go watch that. That my laptop battery also probably will not last that long. Suns look like legit, and the Jazz. I mean, the Jazz always look good until the playoffs come. We'll see what happens, but the NBA in general is like a mess. I might not be at Strong. If I am at Strongsville on Sunday or Hartville, I'll be at Hartville on Saturday too. Well, I should say, if I don't go to the Philly show, I will be at Hartville and I will be at Strongsville, and I will bring stickers. Yes, I have stickers now. If you did not see the IG posts, I have stickers. So I'm not gonna. I didn't order a ton of them. I only ordered 100 to start out. So it's not. I'm not gonna like mail these out to people or anything like that. But my goal is just to have some in my case. So if someone sees me at a show that watches the channel, I can hook them up with a sticker. So shout out to From the Ashes Embroidery. Great to work with. Did really nice work on these. Same people that Card Collector 2 uses. I reached out to him and asked him who he uses. And he tipped me off to them. So very reasonably priced. Glad to get them. There you go. 11 Kobe rookies coming back from PSA. Boy, I just don't know like where to go with hockey. But I am intrigued. I would like to have like one McDavid card just to kind of have as like an ultra long-term hold. I'd probably look at an auto, but they're so expensive. So expensive. MPJ is a very interesting buy at the floor type of guy. The whole release calendar, Michael Ham, is such a mess. Serial killer metal cards. It sure seems like it. I saw LeBron went into health and safety protocols tonight. Correa, not the Tigers anymore. Once the off season settles down, Filmington, I'll have to have you on. We'll talk some hot stove. Yeah, we'll see what he looks like when he actually gets in the league. I don't believe that Mayfield's on the trade block. I think they keep him in the next year and see what he does next year. But then they'll make a decision. They have one more year before they have to make a decision on him. I just don't know anything about. I mean, I know some stuff about DC, but not super in the DC. The people want the Filmington. We do have a special guest in a minute. I'm giving them a minute to get situated. So I see cameras flailing around and ceilings and all sorts of shenanigans going on. All right, I'm gonna skip to the bottom of chat because I'm obviously way behind. Shocking, not shocking. And let's go to our special guest. If our special guest is ready, I see a smile, so I'm assuming that means special guest is ready. Sam of the hobby. What is happening?
Not too much. I kind of spoke a little bit too soon though here. I was like, yeah, I'm gonna try and revenge myself from previous recording I tried to do. But my computer is like so messed up. It's like not recognizing my camera. So that's why this is like on a phone angle here. But hey, I'm doing pretty good. How are you?
Okay. I'm doing pretty good. So convince me on the gem. What is it? What is it called? What is the Vegas show called?
Oh yeah, the Mint Collective. Yeah, it's a show out in Vegas, and I think the thing that really kind of sets the show apart is the amount of programming that they have. So they have a lot of different events and speakers. I think that's something that they might be even pushing more so than even the card show taking place, but there's a lot of like speakers and panels and different things like that going on. So I think that's why it's a little bit different, and I think they're kind of promoting it in that way as well.
Is it a multi-day or?
Yeah, it's I know it's like that Friday. I think there's like an opening kickoff event that Friday, and then a show Saturday, Sunday.
Gotcha. And then, so I saw like they've been announcing people left and right for like I
Mhm.
know. So are you and Hannah on the same panel or?
Yeah, yeah, we are, and I still need to talk with her because like I'm just confused about maybe like our. I mean, I know what I'm doing, but yeah, I have to just like talk with her more about it. But yeah, it sounds really interesting. I mean, they have a lot of people going, and I believe one of like the bigger guests is Dana White from UFC.
Who's
Um,
behind? Because is this the same people that put on like the other Vegas show, or is this separate?
yeah, this is different. So this is being put on by like IMG.
Oh,
So they're like a really big like operator within the event. But yeah, it's like super, I guess, well planned. Like yeah, I don't know. There's just like I think it's like pretty organized, which I like. I don't like things that are just like thrown together.
I like the idea that they're having breakout panels. I think, and I think we've talked about this before on other, whether it's on live streams or just in DMs. I feel like that's a missing aspect that shows aren't taking opportunity of. I know, like Atlanta did, the Culture Collision show did to a
Hmm.
degree because they did some stuff with Card Collector too, and I think Jeff. Um, but I feel like that's for the bigger shows. I feel like that's like a missing piece that people might be interested in attending, but maybe that's just me seeing it as like from the content creator side. But I don't know. I just feel like that would be if I was going to a show, there's only so many times you can look at tables and to like have like, oh, let me go take an hour break. Someone's speaking that I like or whatever. There's an interesting topic to go into.
Yeah, definitely. I think that is something like specifically from the national. I feel like there weren't that I knew about. Like there weren't any events like that going on, which honestly it might have helped like with the flow of traffic too. Like if there was a big event going on, maybe the show floor at that certain point of time wouldn't have been as crowded. But yeah, I think it's a good idea for them to start making them kind of like destination events, kind of like you plan a weekend around it or things like that. I think that's a really good, I guess, marketing tactic to get people, you know, to travel and go there.
Yeah. Cards and Comics has a question for you in chat. Do you know how many? I'm sure you don't know all of them, but do you have a rough idea of how many female YouTube sports card channels? I mean, I know obviously you and Hannah is like the two. I don't know. I'm sure there's other ones that I'm not even aware of.
Yeah, honestly, yeah, I'm not aware of other female YouTube channels specifically within sports cards. I am aware of Reckless Cards. It's like a family that does it. Um, so that's like another like there's a wife who's like pretty heavily involved in I think the YouTube, so she's on there. And beyond that, there's really no one I can think of. Yeah, I can't really think of too many others.
Okay. I mean, I know that there's like Ty doesn't have a YouTube channel per se, but like she's active in the hobby, but she doesn't make hobby specific content. At
Right.
Breakout card, what Breakout? What no? What's her card shop?
Oh, bullpen.
Bullpen, yeah, Bullpen LA and those other ones. I know that there's Black Jaded Wolf and
Hmm.
um, I forget what's the lady's name that was hanging out with us with me, you and Hannah at the SCI party. At
Oh,
I know she's
Anna,
on a panel somewhere. I think I don't know if it's the SCI panel for their virtual or if she's at Mid. I saw
yeah,
her announced at somewhere.
yeah, Anna, Miss Sports Cards.
Yes.
She is involved, and yeah, I think there are a couple like women who break on like Loop or whatnot. I've seen some women post like on different things for that. I mean, I'm personally not really on those apps, so I don't really even know how to like follow or find people there. But there are some women who break, I guess, and sell cards on there. So yeah.
Where the Vegas show, the Mint show, what hotel's that at?
It should be at the MGM Grand. I'm trying to like bring up this like FAQ page that I received. So, yeah, it's at the
You're a
MGM
big VIP guest. You get all the special
Grand
info.
Hotel and Casino. And it does start, so there is a like welcome reception that Friday starting at 7 p.m. and then it goes all the way till Sunday at 5 p.m. And then both Saturday and Sunday, they have what they're calling the Mint Signature Sessions. And these are essentially the panels and the different things that they have coordinated.
Interesting. Um, yeah, because I think a couple people that I was talking to said like the plan would be we're East Coast, so I could cheat. Like I could fly out in the morning and then I get the time change advantage. So I could fly out, be there in time for the reception easily, and then still fly home on Sunday and like
Yeah,
have to take one day off work,
yeah, definitely.
depending on
That's
the
what I'm
flights.
planning on doing. Like, I only want to take one day off too.
Yeah, especially start of the year, like new vacation kick in. Like I don't want to be burning up a bunch of PTO in January to
Wait,
travel. Plus, depending on what like flight prices are and stuff.
but now that I'm thinking, that's probably Martin Luther King Monday.
Oh,
Now that I think about that, that might have been.
I don't get that off.
Oh, I think I do. I don't know. I think it became a national holiday. I don't know. I don't know.
Anna getting some shout out in chat.
Yeah, Hannah's all about that F1. I still have not gotten into F1. I don't think you have either, have you?
No, I just can't do
No.
it. I can't do it. Maybe if I watched the show, I would be like more enthralled for it. I know. I think Card Collector 2 just bought like a massive F1 card or a couple of them.
Hmm.
I just can't. I can't. I want to rip something for Christmas. I usually rip a box of something for Christmas, and I don't know what to rip this year. None of the good products out for 2021 stuff.
I
I don't
know. I
really
saw
want
your
to chase.
video.
Yeah, I don't want to. I don't care about Lamelo and Anthony Edwards stuff. I mean, it's fine, but like none of the good products out right now, and I'm not going to rip Flawless. That's for sure.
Yeah. Yeah, I know. I saw your videos today and it definitely made me think because like I think I've mentioned this before too, but like I mean it's not good retail, but I can find retail like on the shelves any day now. Like almost like it's like pretty available, I would say, in some instances. So
Yeah, I've seen a lot of people cite like, oh, like as you know, I mean, like the market's been slowing down lately, and I've seen a lot of people be like, oh, there's retail sitting on shelves. That's like the sign of the apocalypse that it's all over. And I'm like,
right.
well, yeah, but it's like retail that people don't really like from an investment slash I want to make money on this product standpoint. That's not the stuff sitting on shelves. Like, come talk to me when Optic or Select or Prism is sitting on shelves. Then I'll hit the panic button with you. But if it's Prism baseball and whatever else is like the
Yeah.
weird tops off, like not off brand, but like Stadium Club baseball and Bowman's Best and like this other stuff. Is there a big rush for NASCAR Prism blasters or like, no offense to the WNBA product, but I'm sure that stuff's you keep sure you could find that on shelves. Like that's the stuff that's sitting.
Yeah, I did see that. Well, and I think the big thing too is, well, I'm like in a super small town and like the closest Target is like an hour away, so we only have Walmart. And the Walmart pricing is like I don't even want to pay that for something I want. Like I think at some point the blaster was golly, I think it was $27. Is that what it got up to? I don't know. It was a lot. And I was like, no, I don't think so.
Yeah, I don't know. Like that's I mean, for like a fun rip, you're absolutely right. Um, just get whatever, but like people aren't about that stuff just has no flippable value. So it's gonna sit. And you're gonna see that more often. Like people we say it all the time, like the hobby's gotten so much smarter when it comes to like how to effectively spend your money on this stuff. And if you have kids or whatever, that's fine, or you just want a fun product to rip, that's fine. But people know that that's a loss leader. I mean, most ripping is a loss leader, and then especially that stuff is even more so. Like the only reason Absolute sells like it does, Absolute Football, is because you can get kabooms out of it. If kabooms weren't in that product, it probably wouldn't sell that well.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I haven't seen a lot of people post about Absolute, and I feel like there's been, as of right now, just like more talk around kabooms in general. But I don't know. This is probably like an unpopular opinion, but like I don't really like kaboom. I don't know why. I just don't. Like I think especially the early Kaboom, like I think the illustrations of some of the players do not look good. Like I'm like this is like the Ronaldo statue. Like this doesn't look good to me. So I don't know.
Yeah, I don't disagree with you. I don't own a single kaboom. I don't necessarily hate them, but it comes down to I've had the opportunity to get like Baker Mayfield has kabooms from 2018. And in the preseason when I was buying a lot of Baker stuff, like a PSA 10 was like, I don't know, say it was 2K. I don't know if it was 2K or not, but let's just say it was 2K. There's just way other things I would rather spend $2,000 on than a kaboom of really any player. I get that they might have long term appeal, and I feel like I have nothing to back this up. I've seen some like mumblings about this on Facebook and stuff. It feels like this year there's just kabooms everywhere.
Yeah.
Maybe that's just because everyone's ripping it right now and everyone's posting like my hits,
Mhm.
like, oh, look what I pulled or whatever. Maybe it's just a little bit of that symptoms going on, but it just feels like I'm seeing way more of them than I ever had. Maybe that's just because they're top of everyone's mind. I don't know. I'd be curious to see like the sales data on like how many of a given player are selling right now compared to like a Steph Curry kaboom from last year, even because I just feel like it would be astronomically higher, but I have no numbers to back that up.
Yeah, I agree. I definitely feel like I've heard like a few rumblings on Twitter as well where people are like, "Oh, like I see so many more." I'm sure there is some, obviously we don't have the numbers, but I feel like there's probably some backing to that story for sure because I mean, as your video said this morning, I would like that got me thinking about it again, just about like the print runs. Like they are going to print this thing until they're like forced to leave, and that just like makes me sad.
Yeah, because what do they care? Like they have no both Tops and Panini have no long term vested interest in the hobby other than just milking it for all that it is before they get the licenses off of it. Whether it's I saw someone on someone commented today, they're like maybe they're just doing it on purpose to like kind of force Fanatics' hand of like, hey, you might want to get in here and buy us or work a licensing deal, or we're just going to print this stuff right into the ground. And someone else said, maybe the grass isn't always greener on the other side, and that's true. But as of right now, to me, the grass isn't very green with what I see going on, and what when you look at like the release calendar going forward, and it's like, can you guys stop pulling random Chronicle sets and like actually, maybe I understand there's like, I'm sure COVID has a major factor in all this, but like if that's the case, then cut out some of this fluff stuff and slide up the stuff that people want in the more prominent positions on the release calendar. Like it's crazy to me that we don't even have Prism yet. Like we're going to be in the NFL playoffs and we don't have 21 Prism. Like we don't have Trevor Lawrence Prism rookie cards. And
I know. I didn't
it's
even think about
Thanksgiving. Like
until you said that. Like I was like, I don't know. Like I just didn't I wasn't even thinking. But when you said that, I was like, that's true. Like I haven't seen Prism for these football players yet. Like that's crazy. What is there? The I guess Absolute, like that's the last product that has been coming out for them. Uh,
based on Russ Mac Jones PSA 10s for 3K a pop.
that's crazy. Yeah, that's literally insane. And first off, like I don't know. I feel like Mac Jones reminds me of Matt Castle for that one year. I don't know.
I know what you're talking about. But yeah, I mean, I think he's a product of the system. I don't know that he's probably a perfectly fine quarterback, but he is so propped up by having like the best head coach in NFL history and a really good team around him. Like I
Yeah,
feel like you could put most quarterbacks in that. Like if Baker Mayfield was on that team, he would probably look like amazing.
yeah, definitely. I think he's more so like, and that's what, the claim to fame for a while for Alabama was they had game managers as their quarterbacks. I mean, that's like what he came from is a good system, but I mean, at a certain point though, like if you have a good enough team, that's in some instances maybe that's all you need to win. Like you just need somebody who's not going to lose it for you.
So Michael Ham says that the Kaboom set was increased by 30 players. So maybe that's why it's looking like there's more Kabooms hit, but maybe like an individual player is still pretty rare to get.
Yeah.
Like I could see that. That would be a good way to cheat and have more kabooms
Mhm.
without potentially watering it down on a specific player. I just don't know if it's a non-rookie year. I guess there's big kaboom collectors out there, but I don't know that I really care about like a third year John Morant kaboom or whatever. You know what I mean? There's just for what the price that they go for, I just feel like there's way better places to put your money.
Yeah, definitely. I agree with that. And kabooms, like I think I saw on Twitter, but what did they say? I think I forget, but the print run on kabooms, like the people have like estimated what they think it is. Do you know? I
I
feel like someone
don't. I
said
haven't seen
like
that.
I feel like someone commented, and this is like a random person on Twitter, but I feel like they said like 230 or like 200. I don't know.
I agree with Ash's comment here. I would much rather have a Genesis than a Kaboom. I really like the Genesis.
Yeah, I like the Genesis too. I really liked Mosaic. I have a soft spot for Mosaic because that was like right when I got back in. I was like, oh, this is like my first product, so that's my
Were
soft
you
spot.
able to actually find that on shelves, or because that was kind of like right as things were starting to go crazy with
Yeah,
like
that
the
was when I
retail
paid
hunting?
$45 on eBay and I was freaking out because I was like, I just paid $45 for this box of cards. Like, this is crazy.
Mosaic was the last product I was able to get at retail regularly. Like while I was chasing Mosaic retail is when like everyone started retail hunting in force. Like it was happening before that when I was buying optic. Um, but Mosaic is when I started like losing control to other people because I knew like this Target restock schedule for like 9 different stores in my area. Like I have a bunch of Targets around me, like
Wow.
within a 2 hour radius, and I knew which days they restocked, so I knew which days to go to the store. I didn't have a hookup or anything. I would just go, and if it was on the shelf, I would buy it. And more often than not, I would usually get it because I knew generally around what time the guy was going to be there. Because it was the same guy that stocked all the stores, and I just figured out his schedule through process of elimination. So I was getting tons of like optic retail, and then I was getting Mosaic retail early on, and then more and more people figured out the stocking schedule and would just beat me to the punch. And like if I walked in and there was like a line of people, I didn't stay. I was just like, okay, I'm out. Like I'm not
Yeah.
that hard up for it. But I ripped a lot of Mosaic.
I
That's
remember you
actually when I
talking
started
about
my channel. My first YouTube video
yeah.
on the channel is me ripping Mosaic blasters.
Yeah, I don't think like, I remember I started watching you, like, November of like, a year ago. Wow, it's like a year since I've been watching Neo. But yeah, that's, like, about the time, and I remember you talking about how if you had gone back, maybe you wouldn't have ripped it all, you would have, like, saved some, and that type of strategy as well. So, yeah, I thought that was interesting, but this reminds me of you saying, like, "Oh, you didn't pay off anybody." Like, a couple weeks ago, honestly, it was longer than that, but whatever. There was a guy at my local Walmart, and he was telling me, like, he literally told me, he's like, I used to pay them off. Like, he literally said that and was like, I would pay them off, like, I'd give them a cut, all this stuff. And I was like, oh my gosh, like, that is crazy. But I mean, he was nice, I guess. Like, he split some like stuff that we found with me, but I mean, he openly admitted it. So, I mean, I don't know. I didn't know what to say to him, really.
Once the retail stuff got crazy, I bailed out. I'm like, okay, this isn't worth. I didn't like if I could get it at like next to zero effort, other than like knowing like, okay, like I know they restocked this day. Let me swing by. Cool, it's here. Let me get some. That was great. But if I had to put like any, I don't want to say effort into it, but like I said, if I walked in and there was like 8 people already there, because that's what it turned into, I'm like, I'm not gonna stand around and like stalk this guy. Like if he hasn't stocked the shelf yet and there's like 8 people standing there, like fine, cool, back to my day. Like not worth it for me. But I do wish I had a really nice stash of retail stuff. I had a couple boxes of Prism retail. I had multiple sealed boxes of optic cellos. I had a bunch of optic mega boxes, tons and tons of mosaic. And I was sitting on a lot of it. And then the pandemic started, and I was just like bored in the house. And I would start ripping. I would like, okay, I'm just going to rip a couple. And then next thing you know, there's like 40 empty blaster boxes on the floor next to me. I'm like, oops,
Like
oops.
the casino, you just got to keep going.
Yeah. Well, see, I was at least semi smart about it because what my strategy always was is I had a local LCS that would buy it. So I would sell enough to them to cover, and then I would keep only enough for what I sold to them. So like my cost basis was zero. Like if I
Yeah.
spent $1,000 retail, say, I would sell $1,000 worth to them, and then whatever I had left over, I kept. So I was into it for $0. So anything I pulled was pure profit. So it wasn't like I was air quotes losing money. It was more the opportunity cost of what I probably just could have sold the sealed
Yeah.
wax for 6 months later or whatever.
Yeah, because those boxes inflated. Like, they got to the blasters, I think, at one point were pushing like $100, which I thought was crazy. But I guess it's come down. I don't know. I haven't really paid attention to like that stuff necessarily.
Yeah, I don't track the wax market super, super close, especially retail wax. I did on Mosaic, I kept track. I had a spreadsheet going of what I mean, I was basically into it for nothing, but like I kept track of what I sold the singles for. and like what I paid because I graded a lot of that stuff too because that was before PSA prices got crazy. What I sold that stuff for, plus grading fees, plus all that, and I actually kind of ended up being about the same. Like I compared what the retail boxes were selling for on the secondary market like 6 months later, and compared that to the money that I made like selling the singles and all that stuff. And it actually came out pretty close. So I probably ended up didn't lose that much money in the long run, but it was just a lot more work because I'm like selling all these individual cards. I'm sending stuff off to be graded. And I got lucky on some hits. Like I pulled a Steph Curry Genesis and a Harden Genesis that I sent to BGS back when it made sense. That's how it sounds like it was like an eternity ago, but it was in reality only a year and a half ago that it actually made sense to send cards to BGS back then. And I got like True Gem Pluses on those, and I sold those for a lot. I pulled like a Zion Silver base that I graded. It came back a PSA 9, but even that I got like really good money for. I think I sold that for like what a PSA 10 goes for now.
Wow.
My hits were really good. I ran hot on Mosaic basketball, so I kept ripping it. I
Yeah.
pulled like a really low numbered Tyler Hero orange fluorescent that I graded in a PSA 10 that I sold. So I did well on it, but it was just like the amount of work and effort to make what I could have just literally just sat on the boxes for in the corner and then just sold them all in one shot for probably didn't make sense, but I probably netted out even.
Yeah. But at that point, like you're still like I don't know, you hadn't been in for that long at that point, I guess. Had you? Or maybe like a year or so?
I got back in 20 late 2018, early
Okay.
2019 buying Baker stuff when Baker was a rookie.
Okay.
But I wasn't like chasing retail wax or whatever. It was just like me going on eBay and randomly buying like a Baker PSA 10 optic for like literally $20 because that's what they were going for back then.
Yeah.
But that led me down the path of I
Yeah.
was always a big NBA fan, and that was Luca's rookie year. And I'm like, oh, like let me get a Luca card, just like one or two to have. And then I bought like I'm like, oh, like I really like Giannis. Let me get like a Giannis card. I remember I spent $300 on my Giannis BGS 95, and that was in 2019, I think. Um, and I was like, holy hell, I spent $300 on a basketball card. Like, what the hell am I doing? I remember sweating the tracking on that so hard.
Yeah. That's how it is though. Like I'm telling you. Like actually I had this card out, but I posted it before too, that Miles Bridges card. Like I remember that was the first graded card. And it was only $20, but to me at that time I was like $20 like for a card. Like what am I like I don't know. There's just like levels to it as you continue to progress.
Yeah, I was the Wednesday before Thanksgiving, I was on with Dakota and Flipping Steve on his live stream, and I asked, I was like, do you guys ever become like, I don't want to say like numb to the numbers, but like it just feels like you level up certain times, and it's like I said, a year and a half ago or 2 years ago, that was I spent $300 on that Giannis card, and I just thought that was like the craziest thing in my life. And now all of a sudden, I'm spending like multiple thousands on like a comic book, and it's just like I kind of sweat that, and then part of me is like, whatever. It's just
Yeah.
like what has happened in the last 2 years that I went from like sweating a $300 card to sweating like a $3,000 comic book or whatever. I'm like, what?
Yeah, definitely. There's something about it. But I feel like too in the same sense, like if you just still tell people, like I just like randomly told someone about sports cards and they were like thousands of dollars. Like for other people it's still incomprehensible. They're like, that doesn't make any like, they just don't understand still, which, could be promising in the sense that, there's still so many more people that this market or hobby can reach, but it's interesting.
My mom would have a heart attack if she knew what I spent on half this stuff. She legitimately would have a heart attack. Even my wife sometimes is like, "What?" She's like, "How much is this?" She's like,
Yeah.
"Whatever." She's like, "As long as it came out of whatever account you have, that's fine."
Yeah, the hobby account for sure.
Yeah, the fun money player or fun money pile.
Yeah. But yeah, I know. I saw your refractor LeBron. That was me commenting earlier, LBJ, because I think someone asked like what would you invest in long term
Oh
or
yeah, yeah.
like that. And I
You
was
were guessing my
like,
answer.
yeah.
Yeah,
And
I
that's
would
like
definitely like to
exactly
get
what
some
you
more
said. I
LeBron
think you were like
refractors.
LeBron refractors.
Yeah, they're dipping like everything else right now for the most part.
I know. I still have the PSA. I remember also too when like your PSA Tops Chrome was like your big card.
Yeah, my PSA 8.
Yeah.
Yeah, Yeah,
That's about all
which I
I can
still
buy.
have, but I think that's dropped. Those are like 15, 1600 now, I think. I paid a
Mhm.
little, I think I paid 2K flat for mine. I don't remember. Let's double check
Yeah.
market movers.
Yeah, my LeBron, it's the top's pristine and it's dropped. And I was like, oh my gosh, like I don't know. Also, I just got an ESPN notification that he's
COVID.
yeah, something.
Oh, you disappeared.
Oh, did I? Sorry. Oh,
Yeah,
I
you're
was
fine.
trying to look at my notifications.
Now you're back.
Okay.
Yeah, I saw he went to health and safety protocols because I was actually playing DFS basketball tonight and I had to switch a bunch of lineups around because he wasn't playing.
Oh, you still doing the DFS?
On the side, I don't take it like super seriously. Um, just on occasion, I'll do like a single entry lineup or whatever just to fire it in there. Did you buy your national ticket yesterday?
No, but I saw the Cyber Monday like post or something. I haven't bought it. I know that's just like in a sense to me it's like so far away, but honestly I know if I don't do it now, like I will wait until like May to do it.
It's really not. I mean, it's only 7 months.
I know.
Like it's far, but it's not that far.
Yeah,
I need to
exactly.
figure out. I'm more concerned about the lodging situation for the national than I am the ticket, to be honest.
Yeah, I know because like people have said it's not really close to an airport and that's really how I want to get there. So, I need to think about that more as well.
Yeah, I'll probably drive in, but there's just no good on site. Like you have to drive to the convention center basically every day or Uber, um, which I know you had to do for the national right this year because you were a little off
Yeah.
the beaten path.
Well, yeah. One morning I walked for like a nice little exercise thing. But yeah.
Yeah, because you were what, like 4 or 5 blocks away.
Yeah, it was like less than a mile. So one morning I was like, I'm not taking an Uber. I was also just like super cheap and I was like, no. And then proceeded to get a Starbucks coffee. It's fine.
I thought about going to the Philly show this weekend, but
This person said, let's rent an RV for the
yeah,
national. Oh,
Michael
that's what you
Ham.
just pulled up.
Yeah, Michael Ham, fellow YouTube content creator. Michael Ham hung out with him at the national for a little bit.
Honestly, I mean, yeah.
I said beach Airbnb,
Yeah, I do
like
remember
just
you talking about that.
beach it up and get a nice Airbnb and just rock it out. We need like the YouTubers, content creators, like Airbnb, like the Real World or something.
Yeah, what is it? They actually have like now on like they have like TikTok like content creator like houses like
I don't
hype
understand TikTok at
houses or
all.
something. Hype houses. I think that's I don't know. I don't know that much about it, but I think it's like a thing where like a bunch of content creators all live together and like just make a bunch of content, but interesting. Oh yeah, someone I don't know. I just see someone mentioning Justin Herbert, but wow. Someone tweeted or I saw this somewhere they were like Justin Herbert is an average quarterback.
I mean, he, he either looks really, really good or very, very mediocre week to week. There is no in between, like at all. His prices are going down a lot because there was so much baked into him, and he has really good weeks some weeks, and then he goes like 2 or 3 weeks cold, and he's been kind of cold the last few weeks. I have not downloaded any of the Tops cards apps. Do you have any?
Mm-mm.
I don't do as much with Tops because I'm not like a mass. I shouldn't say I'm not a massive baseball guy. A lot of baseball cards, but I'm more Panini centric, I guess, than Tops centric.
I know a bunch of people on Twitter have like been talking about the Montgomery Club. Something about it changed. I didn't really
The
take
price
to
went way up. I know that.
yeah, I didn't take to see what exactly had changed, but yeah, I saw a bunch of people talking about it. But that's what happened. Like they increased the pricing, I'm sure, and like increase pricing and then like give you less as well, you know.
Yeah, Taylor, we're talking about this year's national at Atlantic City, not the Chicago one. The Chicago one, there's plenty of places to stay around. I think I would go. So when the national goes back to Chicago in 2 years, I think I'm definitely just staying at the Lowe's because that seems to be the spot. I just want to be able to walk up to my room at 3 o'clock in the morning and not have to like hotel hop.
Yeah, I agree. I'll definitely say closer. I just like dropped the ball and booked super late on that because I wasn't even sure for a hot minute if I was going. But yeah, I'll Chicago. But wow, Chicago, that's a whiles away. The next one.
That is a lot. Chicago is a ways away. We definitely have some time for Chicago. I'm not sure this Atlantic City one. I gotta wrap my head around lodging for that one for sure.
So
But
wait,
I think we have plenty of time to get tickets because you figure this year's national didn't sell out until like what, April, May, I think.
yeah, definitely. And yeah, it didn't sell out like super quick. And I don't know though. I could see people like I don't think it's gonna sell out anytime soon, but I could definitely see them selling more tickets earlier. Especially now that they kind of I don't know when they typically offer tickets, but they're offering tickets where you could buy for like a Christmas present or something like that. So,
This feels early.
right? I don't think they opened this early last year.
I don't think they did. Well, that could have been because they weren't sure the
They didn't
status
know.
of the show,
Yeah.
so that could have played in the part of it. Northern
What
Lights Entertainment says they were very excited to meet you at the national,
oh, at the
at the
eBay
eBay
booth. Oh
booth.
yeah, I was there trying to get those DJ ski cards, which I thought about the other day. I haven't gotten my fifth one, but I don't know if that's still in the works or
Was that
anything.
like a redemption thing or something? Or
Yeah. So I don't know.
I thought didn't you? I thought they didn't hand those out on site. That was something they were like mailing out.
Yeah, that was like something where you had to be on site to get all four, and then you had to like enter the serial numbers of the four to in like a form. I guess I entered the form, like I filled in the form to get the fifth card on site, but I didn't actually physically receive the card. Um, but you were talking about how you said Philly show was like on the fence, but what is the next big show that you're for sure going to?
I
Do
don't
you know?
have one. The
Oh,
Philly
okay.
show was like the next one that was most up in the air, and then after that, it's like there's really nothing between now and the holidays. I don't think, and I don't know that like big anyway. And it's so hard to travel this time of year. Everything becomes trickier. Plus, December is a very busy month for me. Like work wise, it's hard for me to take days off in September because I have to deliver. Like I have to touch base with every one of my clients in December for to like drop off Christmas gifts and all that stuff. So it's like an extra busier month than normal. And we have like some other end of year stuff that we have to get done. So it's just a tricky time for me to take days. After Christmas, I have plenty. I'm like the whole week after Christmas, I'm off. But leading up until Christmas is just very busy. So if I don't make the Philly show this weekend, the next biggest one on my radar would probably be the Vegas show because that's at the end of January, right?
Yeah, that is.
And then I think Dallas is shortly after that, right? When's the next Dallas show? Is it January or February?
I
Chat,
really
do you know? Does anyone know when the next Dallas show is?
there's the Atlanta show in February.
Oh, are you going to go to that since you're not in Atlanta anymore? Or
I might because well I can drive like it's like a three and a half, well let's call it four with Atlanta traffic drive. So like I probably will. I think it just depends on that weekend and everything. But yeah, I'll probably try and go to that one. It should probably be actually I think I saw where they got Michael Vick as like a signing guest. Just kind of
oh,
yeah, that's
interesting.
kind of a big name.
Chat says they have not mailed those yet. Multiple
Okay,
people.
great.
Michael Ham says
Yeah,
fifth and sixth
because
cards are being mailed out.
like I got worried because I'm at a different address and like, but I looked back and I think I knew I was gonna be at a different address, so I put in the correct one. But
Any idea what any speculation on what the market will look like April 1st? PSA should be working on new backlog. New rookies should be starting to circulate in slabs, NFL draft, NBA playoffs, etc. I think it heats back up a little bit once we get post playoffs, but or post holidays. A lot of people have been saying like this is just a bad time in general for the cards. I personally don't know if that's true or if that's what people are just saying to justify the market being in a dip. Like, oh, it's before the holidays. Of course, things are going to slow down. Or if there's more smoke, you know what I mean? Like smoke where there's fire type situation. Like,
hmm
is that just like by happenstance? People are just like, oh yeah, it's because of this. But I don't think it. I don't think anyone actually really knows. Is it dipping because of the holidays, or is it dipping because it's dipping? I think it's a convenient out to explain it. I don't know if it's true or not. I just know myself personally. I've been looking less at cards because I've been like, oh wait, I need to buy stuff for my wife for Christmas. Like,
yeah,
it kind of just makes sense. And I know Steve has said, flipping Steve, he works in the casino industry, which like it or not, is a kind of a sports card adjacent thing to some degree or another. And he always says this is their slowest month of the year as well. Like the lead up to Christmas, from Thanksgiving to Christmas, they're just it's like their worst month, which
Interesting.
makes sense. People just have
Yeah.
less expendable income, and they're getting
Yeah, and
pulled
they're
in
out,
different
like, doing
directions.
it, I would assume, not at casinos, like, they're spending it on, like, travel or, going to see family and things like that.
Yeah. To answer someone's question earlier, I had it up and I missed it. The National rotates between multiple sites. Chicago 1 year. It used to be Cleveland, Chicago, and Atlantic City. Cleveland's out of the rotation at the moment due to issues with the convention center. So it's switching between Chicago and Atlantic City every other year, basically. So last year was Chicago. This year will be Atlantic City, and then it'll most likely flip back to Chicago. There was rumors it might come back to Cleveland, which would be amazing. Though I would actually probably stay in Cleveland, which is only an hour from me, rather than make the drive back and forth every day. So,
Yeah, definitely.
have you ever set up at a show?
No, so I thought about it. There's, like, a really small local show, but then well, I got sick, first off, and then secondly, I was even on the fence about it because it wasn't really well marketed, and we're in a really small area, and the admission was $5. So I just felt like all of those things didn't add up to what I would think would be a good show for me to just, like, sell things, so I have not. But I think it's kind of a goal that I want to do. I'm just a little bit intimidated by, like, the really big shows. I feel like I could do, like, a local North Carolina show or something like that, so
I haven't personally set up yet. I don't really have massive inventory to set up at a show, would be my biggest problem. I have open offers to set up at my two of my very, very local shows. Um, that I could either split a table with someone or probably get my own table, like if someone canceled last minute, stuff like that. I think if I was going to do it, I would probably split a table with someone else first. But I would like to see that side. I just from like a understanding it perspective, I speculate on it or not a lot, but I've never sat on that side of the table. So I just don't have a feel for like what it's actually like. So I think it would be interesting for that.
but Neo, that's a lie because you set up at the post-national trade show.
That's a trade night, not a show, and that's a
This is
completely different
basically a
environment.
show.
I mean, you've been to enough now. A trade
Yeah.
night and a card show are two drastically different vibes.
Yeah, but I don't know, it felt like you were setting up there. You had all your cards out. I'm just kidding.
Different vibe though. Their trade night and show floor are uniquely different things. Um, but I would like to set up at some point in time. Like I said, I just don't have enough inventory to like take up a whole table. So I think splitting with someone would be the best. When is PSA going to be $20 a card? End of next year would be my best guess for that low of pricing, anyway.
Yeah.
And I think Nat's pretty much said that as well when he was on with Card Talk.
Yeah, definitely.
Under the radar set becoming more popular with collectors 10 years from now than it is today. I have a personal bias on this one. I'm going to go with Revolution. I really like Revolution. I just think the cards look really nice. Um, whether it catches on or not, I don't know. I just really like the Revolution personally. It's pretty short printed. So, do you have anything? Do you have any off the wall sets that of like mainstream product that you like really like?
No, not off the wall. I do
Or
like
not?
I have a
Basically, non Prism, non optic, non select.
Yeah, I know. I will say I have like a personal bias because in the WNBA Prism box that I got, I pulled a color blast, which was like the first color blast for
Oh,
Prism that you could get. So I do like that. However, of course, I flip over the card and there's like the biggest line I've ever seen in a card on the back of it. And I was like, okay, well, I'm just gonna keep it for me now, whatever. But I like the color blast, which isn't off the radar, I understand. But I did see someone post today, like I can't even remember the name of the set, so it's not even worth mentioning, but it had like a black background and it was like a case hit from something, but I can't even remember. I know that like Sports Card Investor, I want to say at one point in time did like the like March Madness of the different insert sets, and they actually had a lot of sets on there that I didn't even know about really.
I to circle back to something we were talking about earlier. I would take a color blast 100 times out of 100 over a kaboom.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I don't like
Like if we're talking short printed case hit type stuff, I would take my ranking would be Color Blast, probably Downtown, and then Kaboom with like Genesis around. Some of the downtowns look really good and some of them don't. I think it's very specific on the player and like the city and like how they designed it. Just I would put like Genesis around some downtowns. It would depend on the individual card, but I would rather have a Color Blast over any of them, and I don't think it's close.
yeah, I mean, seeing the Color Blast, like, in person was really cool, so I like that a lot for sure. But now I'm like, there's the Prism Color Blast, but I guess there's also, like, Spectra Color Blast, so, like, multiple different products you can get Color Blast in, is that correct? I know there's also, like, Obsidian Color Blast. I don't know.
Yeah, it's like one of those ones that kind of port it between different products every year. Like it's not. I don't think it's always in the
Right.
same stuff. Do you collect any vintage?
Um, no, I don't collect any. I think a lot of the vintage is cool though, like, um, who is it? Might have been like Buster, that guy who was on Card Talk Pod, that event one time. Buster,
Oh, yeah, I know who you're talking
yeah,
about.
he posted like some really interesting stuff on his story the other day, and it wasn't like vintage sports cards necessarily, but it was like vintage, like it was like Albert Einstein, like
Mm.
1952 tops, like really kind of obscure stuff like that, which I still consider vintage. So I think that stuff is really interesting to see, like all these kind of rookies and things like that. But no, I don't collect any. You don't collect vintage, do you? I know you talked about
No.
the Jim Brown, but
Yeah, that's just more like a super PC niche thing, just because the Browns and whatnot. But yeah, I'm not a big vintage guy. I just, for whatever reason, I just prefer to collect players that are actively playing. Like LeBron, I guess is he's not vintage, but like that's like as vintage as I probably get, like because he's
yeah,
close to being retired.
yeah,
Um,
I agree. And honestly, like yeah, I wasn't born. I was born like in the late 90s. So a lot of these people considered vintage, like I don't even really know who they are. I'm not educated in the history of a lot of sports, I guess.
Yeah, and for me, like my vintage angle is comic books, not cards. Like I would buy, like old school comic books. I would have much more attachment to that. Like I would be much more willing to spend thousands of dollars on a old comic than I would an old card. Like that's just more based on what I'm into. And then there's a second part of that question. Are you into any non-sports cards? I know you collect like a lot of, I don't want to say like off the wall sports cards, but I know like you have a lot of non-main core
Mm.
sports. But do you do anything with non-sports cards at all?
Yeah, actually, I feel like I didn't even realize I kind of answered that with like the Albert Einstein or random stuff.
Oh
But
yeah, I guess you kind of did.
yeah, I didn't even think it. I guess I would like saw that and subconsciously thought about it. But non-sport. I'm trying to think if I have. Well, I have the gift from Yamwax that Elon Musk,
Oh
which
yeah,
is
I have
interesting.
mine too.
Um, but
But there's
beyond
nothing
that,
you like I'm in the Marvel cards. Like there's nothing that you're like actively into. Like
no, I have some Marvel, but like I'm not like super
you're not
attached.
looking for it.
Yeah.
I was too young for the Red Barn, but I remember my parents talk about the Red Barn. And it did originate in Ohio. So did Wendy's. Wendy's originated in
An
Columbus,
Ohio thing.
Ohio.
You're not an Ohio State fan, are you?
I'm an Ohio State fan. I'm not like card collector to Ohio State fan where I'm gonna, where I need to have the game streaming while I'm looking at long box or dollar
Yeah.
boxes. But like I didn't go to Ohio State. I graduated from Akron. Um, so like I like Ohio State. I would obviously prefer that they win. I root for them, but I'm not like it sucked that they lost. I was pissed about it. I was unhappy the night of the game, but like the next day I wake up and like life goes on
Yeah.
type situation. So
Yeah.
I probably feel
Definitely.
a lot different about it if I went there. But I've been to a couple of Ohio State games. It's an absolutely amazing experience for like a game day experience type
Hmm.
situation. It's a blast. But yeah, I'm not gonna like live and die by them. I'm a much bigger Browns and Cavs fan than I am Ohio State.
Yeah, definitely. My best friend though, she's like a huge Ohio State fan. I haven't talked to her honestly since then. I was honestly a little bit scared to say anything because she would be really bad. But yeah, obviously I went to South Carolina and we got blown out. Didn't even score. I was like, this is ridiculous against Clemson.
So the PSA $20 thing, the reason they want to get back to that is because they don't want to screw over people that are doing set registry stuff. They still want an option for people that, like, for example, I would love to have like a set of Marvel Universe cards PSA graded, but I'm not paying $100 a card to have that done. But if it was $20 a card or even $15 a card, I would be much more likely to like slow burn submit them like a couple every month or whatever. And then, even if they took a year to get back to me, I wouldn't really care. That's why the $20 number is thrown out there. And they talked about putting in that interview with Card Talk, Nat talked about putting limiters on it. Like maybe you could only submit at that level cards that you actively have cards in a PSA set registry tied to your account already. Which I thought was an interesting way of trying to control submissions for that. Like I couldn't submit 90 Marvel Universe at the $20 level unless I was building a set on their set registry, which would tie into your regular PSA grading account, which makes a lot of sense. Oh, this is a good point. Color Blast are in hobby only products, whereas the other ones are retail products, which I did not think about that.
Yeah.
Sam's channel is Women of the Hobby. Oh, they just saw it. What's this? I hear you posted a video right before you hopped on here. There's actually fresh Women of the Hobby content. You were getting a little
yeah, 10 days later.
Sparse there for a hot minute.
I'm gonna start being better. That's my end of 2021, because you gotta start your goals now. Beginning of 2022 goal is to be a little bit better and more consistent.
So daily videos, that's what you're saying?
Yeah, it's with Tanya, and I actually met her in Clubhouse. Did you ever do Clubhouse?
Mm-mm.
Yeah, so we met in Clubhouse. There was like a really big sports card thing at one point in time, and she was in there, but she is like the biggest F1 fan I've ever met.
Seriously. Oh, really?
Yeah, like she knows everything. Like even like the old history. Like she's talking about some drivers, and I was like, like, yeah, I don't know.
Need to get her on a She Collects episode.
Yeah, okay, cool. But yeah, she knows a lot about F1, and she actually opened Topps Chrome, and I don't want to spoil it, I guess, if people will watch, but yeah, she ended up getting a very nice card, so
well, yeah, I'll have to check that out later as well. Flux is going to be retail too. I think Flux is going to be a hobby only release or like an LCS only release. I could be wrong on that. God, I hope it's not a retail
don't touch it.
Let the free market choose what they want to grade. Yeah, I'm not real big on that. I don't get on the I get annoyed by the oh, you people that submitted this junk are the reason that PSA is backed up. Like if you're paying the price, I don't submit whatever you want to submit. Like I'm not like the grading police that says you can't send your 30-cent base card in the PSA to get graded. Like people grade for different reasons. Not everyone's grading to like maximize the value and put it on eBay before they barely have the PSA box open on their desk. So like, grade whatever they want. I don't care.
Is
Al Bundy rookie card.
Oh, I think you skipped it, but no.
Which one?
Is BGS still alive? Literally, like, are they breathing? Like, I don't know.
I don't know what's going on with that. They are the most. I mean, they're not baffling. I think it's honestly that whoever the parent company that owns them doesn't want to spend any money on them, so they're just content with just doing their thing, making the money that they make off of it, and whatever happens, happens. I think I've been told by multiple people before that the parent company that controls them does not care about BGS cards, all that stuff in general. So they just kind of like, okay, you just operate over there, but we're not going to give you any extra money or resources to do what you need to do, or maybe a little bit, nowhere near enough to actually tackle the problem. And eventually it'll just kind of sort itself out. Like you guys just kind of figure it out.
Yeah.
But I mean, I like their slabs. I'm not like captain of the I want subgrades on everything thing. I like it on some stuff. I still prefer like just the PSA 10 basic model because at least from like a buying and selling perspective, I don't know how many BGS slabs you've owned, but every time you try to go to move one on the secondary market, it's like this game of like, oh, okay, is it a true gem? Is it a min gem? Is it a true gem plus? Is it a min gem plus plus? Is it a BGS 9? What's the subgrades? And then it's like this whole extra art of negotiation around like, oh well, mine has 10 centering, so I'm putting a little bit of a premium on it because of
Mhm.
that, or like, what subgrades get a little boost versus others. And I get all that, but it's just a lot easier when I go, okay, mine's just like a PSA 10. Like, what are those
Right.
comp for? And like be done with it. There's just like all this extra rigmarole with trying to move BGS cards.
Oh yeah,
Like,
definitely. And I see a couple people saying, but yeah, I like BGS slabs the most. Like I think the gold, like kind of neutral color looks good with all cards in general. So I like the slab the most, but yeah, I've never submitted with them personally, but I've only ever moved one BGS. And yeah, I at the time I was still kind of new, so I didn't really understand. I was like, well, this one did 450, but this one did 350, but it's the same number, like what is going on here?
yeah, like if there was a card that I wanted for like my PC or whatever, or like an ultra long term hold, I would absolutely be looking to buy BGS. No problem. I have no shade against them as a grading company. Like I respect their slabs, I respect their grades, but from a buying and selling perspective, it's just so much extra work. I still think in the current market they're the go to for like thicker cards.
Oh yeah, definitely. And like and honestly, some of the most, I guess, like, I don't know, expensive or like super high-end cards, they're in BGS. And I know a lot of that is because they were graded like years ago, but I mean, it's just interesting to, when you see these cards, they're like, I think some of them are getting cracked over, but I don't know. So,
Yeah, a lot of that. So, like, it goes back to the point of what you said. Like, at the time,
hmm
like when O3 Exquisite and that stuff was coming out and Kobe rookies, BGS was the dominant player. They were king in sales value. So that's where everything went. It would be like
right.
sending the PSA now. Like, it's just not even a question. Like, you just send it to PSA. Back then, it was like you just send it to BGS. And so I think that's the reason why a lot of that stuff got thrown into those slabs. And I do think a lot of that stuff is getting crossed over to PSA now. Not like the RPAs, because I think those still make a ton of sense in those slabs. But I don't know. I've used BGS before. Like I said, I've cracked or I sent mosaic stuff to them to grade back in the day. Their other thing too with them, I don't know if you ever actually submitted cards to them, or have you just bought and sold like their slabs already graded.
Yeah, I haven't ever like personally submitted.
It's the most archaic thing ever. Like it's straight out of 1997 to submit cards through them. Like on
Yeah.
their website is super non-user friendly. Like their whole system needs a major upgrade. People are
Jeez.
asking if you're buying the CMC dip.
Yeah, I've seen that. I mean, I'm always supporting the Panthers win or lose, but I was never like the biggest CMC collector, but honestly, I might. And my main reason why I didn't collect him was because he was so expensive, or more. He wasn't so expensive. He was more expensive than what I wanted to pay. But yeah, that's true. I mean, he keeps getting hurt, which this is terrible, but I feel like he's just gonna continue to get hurt. I'm not sure if we'll ever see him back in his prime form again, which is like sad, but it's also the life of a running back in the NFL, like it's very short.
Yeah, like I've used this as a point before when people ask me, like in the run up to football season, they're all like, "Are you buying? Like, why do position players not get a lot of love in the NFL?" And the thing that I always cite all the time is like Todd Gurley was like the best running back in the NFL for 3 years. I think he's 26 or 27 years old, and he's not even in the league. And he was rushing for like 2,000 yards,
hmm
almost a season, and putting up like number one pick in fantasy football
Yeah,
drafts.
I
Was an
had,
absolute
yeah,
monster for like 3 years straight. He's in his late 20s, and he's just not even relevant.
yeah. I don't
Like,
even think he's on like a practice squad.
no, he's
Like
nothing. He's
what?
sitting
Like,
at home
yeah,
watching this YouTube live stream right now. Is what he's doing.
yeah.
Like that's which great. He made his money and whatever and got out. But like that's the problem with position players in football. It's just such a crapshoot. It's such a brutal sport.
It is. It's really bad, and I just feel like he's gotten bit by the injury bug a bit too much. I mean, it's pretty much been the past 2 seasons now. So I mean, it's just not really boding well. I mean, obviously he's great, and honestly, when he's on the field, we overuse him. Like he's the only player apparently that we have now when he's on the field. But
Paul
yeah.
knows your weakness.
Oh yeah, I know. I see that the Luke Kuechly auto for sure for the win always.
Did you ever
But
get that? Did you get that 101 from Card Collector too, or no?
No, I didn't. I think it went on eBay. So I remember that in that
I think
live
he sold it
stream.
in a whatnot sale or something, or
Oh,
a live auction or something.
yeah, so he was trying to sell it for 100 and then it didn't sell. And he was
Oh,
like,
that's right. I mean, like I sent you the link because it showed up on eBay.
yeah, I messaged him and it went to, and he was just like, "Oh yeah," like I guess it was a little bit later, but I think it was on eBay, and it went for 150 on eBay. So he got $50 more putting it on eBay. I was like, "Well, good for him," honestly.
Yeah, the Cam Newton experiment didn't last very long.
Ah, geez, that was so sad. Honestly, like, and I feel like I've been on record saying this, I am not the biggest Cam Newton fan, but a part of me was actually really happy when we signed him. I was like, "Oh, this is such a good story," but I don't really think there are good stories for Carolina Panther football. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, excellent point. Jamal Charles, Priest Holmes, same thing. Like Jamal Charles was a monster for like 2 or 3 years in a row, and now nothing. Priest
Yeah,
Holmes
even
as
like
well.
Le'Veon Bell, like, I mean,
Yep,
he's bouncing around.
he's terrible now. Like he's like a third or fourth string running back.
Yeah, it's really bad.
Bravo's giving you props for your Chuba Hubbard pick in fantasy.
Yeah, I know. I'm glad I got him now, but I should have gotten him on the team that I actually have McCaffrey on. I have McCaffrey on my other team. Um,
Well, it actually works out better this way because now you're not clogging up a roster spot with both, and you probably ended up Chuba probably played more games than Christian McCaffrey. That's
yeah,
relevant,
it's true. I did have to
especially with
utilize,
McCaffrey out for the season.
yeah, I had to utilize him one time. I've played him once or twice now.
You
Um,
smoked me. Was that 2 weeks ago?
yeah, I was
You had
so
me beat before your
scared.
quarterback even played.
I didn't even like I was in a bad service area. I couldn't update my roster and I was just like, "Oh, forget about it." It's like fully expecting to lose and then I check it later and it's like, "Oh my god, I'm winning." Like it's crazy. But I've kind of gone downhill in that league in general.
My team's a disaster. I started off like 4-1 or 5-1 or something, and then I lost Derrick Henry, David Montgomery, and Clyde Edwards-Helaire like all in a row, and now my team just is terrible. Like because I just
Yeah, I
got
had Henry
destroyed by
Ruggs
injuries.
and I was like, "Oof, bad look, bad look."
Oops. Yikes.
I know. Yeah. And I might have to go. My phone
Your
is like
battery
trying to
died.
die on me and also not charge at the same time. I'm just like
Oh,
having
you're fine.
lots of
Okay, so anything on the way out the door? All right, you just posted a new video today.
Mhm.
Anything? When's the next you and Hannah combo video? Is that the next thing that you guys? What's the next video for you besides today's?
Yeah,
You
we need
know,
to touch base. We said we'd touch base like after the holiday, and it's after the holiday, so I gotta touch base. But there might be a new episode this Friday. If not, definitely trying to get out something next week for sure. So I had that new video out today with Tanya, really big F1. We talk a little bit about, I don't want to say we talk about the market of F1, more so just like her knowledge of F1 and different things. So yeah, check it out if you feel interested. But yeah, that's about it for me. And then beyond that, just trying to be more consistent in the content. So,
what's the promise? Are we going to promise one a week, two a week?
oh yeah, got
Seven
me
a
on
week?
record saying it, and that way,
Yeah, like let's get some. It's not like a real thing unless you like. What's the commitment?
yeah,
What's the 2022 Women of the Hobby commitment?
my commitment will be one a week, whether that be with me and Hannah or like with another woman that I'm interviewing. I think that's the aim and the goal for what I'm gonna try and do. So
You've had men on as guests too. I've been a
yeah,
guest. Yamwax was a guest.
yeah, exactly. I feel like the last time, like, I don't know, some people try to catch some flack and be like, he's not a woman. And I'm like, doesn't really matter. Like, I don't know.
Yeah, I think I was your last non-woman guest
Yeah,
actually.
I know. I should probably add some more. That way, like, you and Yamwax don't feel like ostracized or anything.
All right, Sam from Women of the Hobby, we will let you go. If you folks in chat are not subscribed to Women of the Hobby, go check out her channel, and also you have a very large IG presence as well, I believe.
Yeah, thank you. I'll talk to you later.
All right, later, Sam.
Bye.
Thanks, Sam, for popping on for a little bit. Let's just readjust the camera here since I don't have the guest. Sam puts out great content all the time over at Women of the Hobby. Go check out her stuff. She teams up with Hannah every once in a while. She collects cards. They team up for a little video. All sorts of good topics that they cover. Her and Hannah kind of cover like the normal, like what's going on in the market type of stuff. And then she has guests on every once in a while as well. So let's see. Let me check the time real quick. We had the impromptu guests. So let me check the battery life on the laptop. All right, we're looking okay on battery life, 20%. Let's go for about another 20 minutes. I want to get off in time to get settled in for the Warriors Suns game. So I'll pop back into chat. 357 says Sam is a legend. I agree. Sam's great. I talk to Sam as often as I possibly can. We're always trading barbs back and forth in DMs. But yeah, okay. Chat, we will go ahead and fire it back over to you. Let you guys kind of drive the last 20 or 30 minutes here. I see a lot of AP talk going on in chat. Yeah, he's kind of, I think we talked about this with Dakota and Steve on Wednesday. He's kind of the last relevant running back that like actually maintained long-term value was AP. Derrick Henry was kind of heading in that direction, but then he got hurt. And we'll see if Derrick Henry is ever back to what he once was as well. If you haven't smashed the like button, I don't think I've said it yet. I don't know how many likes we have. I am bad about pimping the YouTube stuff, but smash the like button. So, chat, I turn to you. Any questions on anything? I don't have to go another 20 minutes if we don't have anything good that we want to discuss, but there's 136 of you in here, so I'm sure someone has a question about something or something that we all want to talk about. I see a lot of great running back chat is going on right now. Scrolling through, making sure I didn't miss anything while having guests on. Having guests on and trying to keep up with chat is very difficult. Very difficult. Bravos asks, with Soto, Acuna, and Tatis base pops going over the roof, do you think numbered colored Prism rookies are good plays, maybe long term? When you say Prism, I assume you mean refractors, not actual Prism cards. Oh, Panini baseball card? No, I don't. Unlicensed stuff? No. I wasn't sure if you were referring to Prism and just using Prism as like a term for refractor, or you're actually talking about Panini Prism baseball. No. Panini Prism baseball will never hold major value. Is there money to be made with it? Sure. It's like a rising tide lifts all boats. You know, if there was a Soto Prism rookie out there and Soto market doubles, that card would probably also double, but the ceiling is ridiculously capped with it. And there's also some liquidity problems with stuff like that as the hobby becomes smarter. Personally, I would not touch unlicensed stuff. Maybe some NT stuff because they do a good job on like the National Treasures and Flawless Baseball. Some of that stuff looks really good. So like as a PC play, I think it's a good angle to get nice cards cheaper because it is unlicensed. But from an investment standpoint, I don't personally see it. But I'm sure there's someone that has data that would disagree with me about this. Yeah, Jim Brown's the go-to running back, so you just full stop right there. Do I think there's going to be a strike in baseball? Yes, there's going to be a strike in baseball for sure. I don't think there is a strike that loses playing time. Technically, the strike starts Wednesday or tomorrow. But I don't think we have any lost games. Show me some of your new collections. The newest thing that I have is the Hulk 181. That's the last thing that I bought a couple weeks ago. Adrian Peterson was a beast. What early 90s Marvel cards will be worth a lot in 20 years? Probably Marvel Masterpieces and high grade Marvel Universe holograms. Yeah, I could see that, Jay Thorne. Base will always have a place for entry level stuff. So I did not pick up that Jim Brown auto, Paul. I wish I would have. I made a mistake on that. I am much more interested in Bo Bichette than Eloy. I do kind of like them both. I would buy like Eloy stuff's cheap, but if I was going to buy a White Sox player, I think I would go Lou Bob over Eloy because Lou Bob's not that expensive right now, and I do think Bo Bichette's pretty cheap. I do not agree with this. Really think there's an opportunity to see BGS rise back to the top as PSA becomes so commonplace it will lose its shine. Could happen. I don't think so. I don't think BGS is positioned as a company to be number one. They don't have the support system to be the number one grading company. Boy, Byron Buxton's one of those guys. If you can get into him at bargain basement prices, it's fine. But that guy could just not stay on the field. Whew. I wouldn't mind having a nice Bo Jackson rookie just to have as like a keepsake, just because like I grew up watching him just destroy people. I don't know much about it specifically, but I know that there's a blossoming market for like especially the Nintendo stickers, especially graded ones. Um, a lot of people are on the hunt for those right now. Oh, hey, Kate from Shipshawana. Had a nice little conversation with you guys. I mean, he's a really good player, but he has the same issue that every NFL position player does. It could just flip so fast. If you like, I'll be honest, I don't own any Jonathan Taylor stuff. If I did, I personally would be selling as fast as possible with his rise up in prices because this stuff has gone up with his massive tear the last couple weeks. I would be taking my money and run. There's just so much volatility in position players. I mean, we talked about it earlier. There are so like the trail of broken running backs is long. The number of running backs that actually still hold hobby relevance is not that many. It's Peterson, it's Barry Sanders, it's Walter Payton, it's Jim Brown. There's like one an era. I just don't know that Jonathan Taylor is that guy from this era. I don't know if there is one from this era with the way football has shifted to much more running back by committees and guys just not getting the full workload. So if it was me and I was in the Jonathan Taylor dirt cheap, which you probably are because this stuff was never that expensive, and you could sell it for a massive profit, maybe keep the one that you're the most in love with. If there's one that has personal special attachment to you, hang on to it. And then if you have extra stuff, move that stuff and just take the profit. I think Jonathan Taylor is the ultimate. You'd be able to buy it back cheaper, like if you PC him or whatever. Yeah, I mean, yeah, lockout strike, sure, tomato, tomato. You're not I do agree with you. The powers that be in the MLB to not screw this up, but I just don't think they lose games. I really don't. Yeah, I think BGS absolutely has a fine floor. I don't think BGS is going to like tank and be worthless or anything crazy like that. They'll always be relevant, but I just don't see them being positioned to be number one anymore. Oh boy, 357. You're picking at a sore wound here. I growing up my entire life, I was a massive Indians fan. Over the last 5 to 7 years, I have really soured on that team because I cannot stand the ownership group and what the ownership group has done to that team, um, both on and off the field, specifically with payroll. I have soured on that team a lot over the last 5 or so years. They were ridiculously talented. They cheaped out on offense the last couple years and really ruined some opportunities with some really good pitching staffs. And they didn't want to spend on outfielders. One of the deal breakers for me was letting Michael Brantley walk. Um, that one really hurt just because the team was really good. The team that they had in place was really good, and they just did not want to spend the money to keep him. And they had an amazing pitching staff. And that really pissed me off. And a lot of the general vibe around, I guess, the Guardians now, um, the fan base is not happy on many levels with the Dolans, with both on and off the field stuff. So I guess I'll say the Indians, but I'm I don't really have. It would still be the Indians, I guess, but I'm not anywhere near live or die by them like I used to be. I mean, I used to listen to like every Indians game on the radio. I love Tom Hamilton. Um, and like I grew up, I was 13, 14 years old. I was 13 years old in 1994 during the strike season, 14 years old during 95. That's like the perfect age to have that 95 Indians team. That was some of the most fun sports memories I ever have is that 95 Indians team. That lineup was absolutely loaded. They had so many comeback victories, such a fun team, such crazy personalities on that roster. Massive Manny Ramirez fan as a kid. Jim Thome too, Albert Bell, just the whole 9 yards. That team was like my first true love in sports was that 95 Indians team, I would say. As a kid, I really liked the Price Doherty Cavaliers. And the Browns, I was always in a weird place with because I remember them. I remember them being good, and then they left during like my peak years as a sports fan. So, mm, do. You said you were done in an old video. Done with what? Uh, Seacrown. I don't know what you're talking about. I don't know what thing you're referencing that I was just yammering on about. Do you think the best play in the market right now is to wait until the market starts creeping back up to start buying long-term holds or players you believe in long-term or 7+ years? I mean, I'm looking at more. I'm definitely more long-term focused right now. Looking at like LeBron refractors and stuff like that. If I see a card that I want and it's at auction and I think it's going for a price too cheap, I'm not going to sweat. Especially if it's a long-term hold, I'm less likely going to sweat. Like, am I buying at the absolute bottom or not? Because if it's something I'm not planning on quick flipping in 6 months, then I feel like I have a lot more wiggle room on exactly like what the bottom is. Um, so I don't know if that fully answered that question. I don't do much with baseball prospecting. I wait till they're very close to coming up before I dig in. I'm fairly clueless on baseball prospects. Do I think 86 Fleer Jordan is still a good investment? Yeah, that's going to be the most iconic basketball card of all time, probably. I mean, I don't know with like the specific price points at the market at the point in time. I don't follow that market like on a day-to-day basis. So I'd have to like do some research if I was going to buy one. Would I like to own an 86 Fleer Jordan at some point in time? Sure. Probably in a mid grade that presents well. I wouldn't mind having one, but it's not high on my priority list of things. But that card's always going to be relevant. Oh, okay. Yeah, with the Indians. Yeah. Yep. Sure. If you're talking about the roller derby team in Cleveland, sure. I've never been a big Tom Brady guy. West Coast Dave, what's the next grail that you were coasting or grail that you were going for now that I got 181 and giant size X-Men #1? Good question. I don't know that it would be considered like grail wise, like those were the two biggest grails, air quotes. In the comic book world, I don't these aren't like these are like mini grails. They're not like full blown grails like a giant size X-Men 1 or a Hulk 181. The things that are on my short list are in order from cheapest to most expensive. An X-Men 266. I just need to knock off first appearance of Gambit. I don't own one. I need to just get one. Um, X-Men 101, the first appearance of Phoenix. I love the cover of that book. I think it's a very important key X-Men book to own. And then Flipping Steve and I have both talked about this one. X-Men #4, first appearance of Scarlet Witch, Quicksilver, Toad, Mastermind, second appearance of Magneto. That is a big one that I would like to check mark off the list. I would consider that more of a mini grail rather than a full blown grail. I don't know that I have like a massive grail. Like there's some really like would I love to have an X-Men #1? Sure. Would I love to have a really nice Jim Brown rookie? Sure. Would I like to have a nice LeBron rookie, like more so than my PSA 8 Topps Chrome? Sure. But those aren't as high on the priority list right now. The things that I'm constantly looking at are those three X-Men books, um, specifically. I wouldn't mind some other Spider-Man stuff potentially, but I've been more focused on X-Men stuff lately. I've just been kind of that an X-Men mood slash mindset. Baseball prospects are a really good investment in the hobby. It's a massive hole in my game. I just hate there's some of them are super expensive, and it's all talk about a massive game of hot potato is getting into these guys, and then the second they get called up, you basically have to immediately sell them, or you'll lose money more times than not. Do I think Select gets its popularity back? I would like it to, but we'll see. It's like you started talking a foreign language. I think Baker bottoms out here in the winter and then probably gets a slight bounce back if they shake things up. I don't think they get rid of him in the offseason. They have one more year left on him before he is a free agent. So they're going to run it back with him next year with a retooled offense, I think. His offensive weapons are terrible besides the running. Running backs are amazing, but he has no, we talked about this earlier in the stream. He has no pass catchers at all. They're all either hurt or suck. He has the two best running backs in the league, probably, or two of the better running backs in the league. Really good offensive line still. He's beat to hell, like literally beat to hell. And his offensive pass catchers are beat to hell or terrible. So I think they basically give him a free pass for this year with the injuries and stuff. Retool the pass catchers for next year, see what he does. And then if he struggles, they'll probably look to move on. Or if he is good, they'll sign him. If they're still not 100% sure yet, they could always franchise tag him. So it's football. It's you have a lot more options in football with how to control these guys. I watch a lot of his stuff. Baseball collector, investor, dealer. I know Dustin's a big fan of him. I think Upper Deck's the toughest get out of the three for them, for sure. Does Panini have any incentive to make good on their redemptions at this point? Not really. Most of these guys, I mean, Eddie George was really good, but he still had like a short career where he was super dom. Well, I guess he played longer than that. He was good for many years, but they never won a. He never won a ring. Um, Marshall Falk was really good. I mean, you could add like another guy that you could add to that list would be Curtis Martin. Curtis Martin has tons of good numbers. It's just so hard to break through as a position player for hobby relevance. So they're great guys to PC. Yeah, LT would be another one. Jerome Bettis would be another one. I would hate. I hate to have those words come out of my mouth, but Bus will sell super well because Pittsburgh has a massive fan base. Steelers stuff always sells really well, for sure. Go for a few more minutes here, so we'll begin the wrap up. So if you have anything, chat, fire away in there. Smash the like button if you haven't on the way out the door. If you're not subscribed to the channel, you should be. But definitely, let's see if we can run the like button counter up before we wrap this live stream up. I'll throw this out there, just a reminder, no planned video for tomorrow. So no scheduled video coming out at 9 a.m. tomorrow, Eastern Standard Time. This is me taking a gamble that we get PSA news tomorrow. And I'm going to be recording a PSA breaking news video for whatever they roll out for regular service. We will see. Maybe I'm wrong. If nothing comes out from PSA tomorrow, I will try to record something for an afternoon release when I get home from work. But I do not currently own any hockey cards. When was the last time the Bengals were the talk of Ohio football? Probably the Carson Palmer era, would be my guess. Who has the better career, Burrow or Herbert? I think they actually stay pretty close to each other. They're both good. Yep, 100% agree here. Jamal Lewis was an absolute monster for more years than Sean Alexander was. Sean Alexander was very short-lived, is the thing. Watch a video that you haven't watched yet. I'm sure there's something that you may have missed. Nah, they had some pretty good Carson Palmer teams. Carson Palmer was really good on the Bengals before he got his knee shredded by the Steelers. Yeah. Yeah, Carson, the Chad Johnson, and TJ Hushmanzada was probably the last time they were this relevant, would be my guess. That would be my guess. The last time that they were this good. So I don't know what my video is going to be for Thursday or Friday. I have not decided yet. But I usually think of the topic the night before, as crazy as that sounds. I do not. I rarely plan my videos out super far ahead. It's hard because the stuff changes on a nightly basis. It's the nature of sports. All right, we're gonna wrap up here. The laptop battery is getting long, and Suns Warriors is about to tip off, and I have to go back to work tomorrow, which sucks. I've been off since last Wednesday. Took a long weekend for Thanksgiving, and then I was off yesterday for the opening day of deer season, and then was off today to process deer. So I think Mac Jones was perfectly fine. I don't think he's an elite level quarterback. So he's a perfectly fine quarterback in a really good system. So, all right, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, D Generation X proudly brings to you Neo Cards and Comics. Like, comment, and sub. We'll catch you guys and girls hopefully on a PSA news video tomorrow. If not, I'll cook up something else for you guys. But we'll catch you on the next one. Peace. Have a good night, everybody.